Hello, this is Henry Chamberlain. Welcome to another Comics Grinder. And today I'm very honored to have Hurricane Nancy Burton, also known as Hurricane Nancy, among other names in her art career. And this is Hurricane Nancy, published by Fantagraphics, which we will just go into in depth. Uh, no further ado, Nancy, thank you for joining me here today.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be with you, Henry. You are the best, and you do great interviews, so I'm honored. I I'm also honored that this book was put together by Fantagraphics and Gary Groff, who's the publisher of Fantagraphics, had his whole team do the book, and Alex Dubin wrote it. And when it came out, it's surprise. This is gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Well, you're telling
I
me that this cover uh, is something that Gary Groth chose himself.
Oh yes, it was the least conservative thing he could find in the book. Actually not. But he said, well, actually Alex said, well, Gary knows what sells books. I said, fine. So anyway, I'm very proud of that drawing. It's from the 60s, and you're unrepressed, and you just put it on paper, and you're underground, so nobody cares about you anyway, and nobody pays you, so you just do it. It's art for art's sake, almost.
I love that. Well, let
Yeah,
me go to get right into the book, and
sure.
I'm just going to evoke a feeling of we're just thumbing through the book. These are more recent works, and then we can
Yeah.
move over to the earlier stuff. And it's just such a treat to have you, Nancy, because we've been having you up on Comics Grinder for so long, and it's just been so much fun having a new piece of your work up to just enjoy. Now, here are some of the earliest pieces from the East Village Other. Maybe a good place to start would be for you to just tell us a little bit, give us a little taste of what it was like for a young artist to suddenly be in the East Village Other and be an underground cartoonist.
Well, I decided I wanted to be a cartoonist, um, whatever that meant. And then I would do the picture of what I imagined a cartoon is, and I wanted to say, and I brought it over to these wild men in the East Village Other who were putting out this wonderful underground paper. And they said, sure, we'll publish it. And they just started publishing it. Did I ever ask for a penny? No, I didn't even think of it. It was like, oh, I'm published in this great, great paper. We're saying something different. So I was very excited.
I can imagine even then that the East Village Other was a big deal. So you had some sense that this was a big deal being published in this newspaper.
Yeah, because the people were so incredible. You know, when you were like you, Henry, as soon as we connected up, you started putting color in my pictures and contributing. And I went, isn't that amazing? I have another artist contributing to
Oh,
these pictures. It was great. Oh, come on, Henry, you're
well,
great.
well, thank you. It's been a lot of fun doing that. I don't want to step too far into your territory. I don't want to take away anything from your art, but at the same time, I thought it was just a nice, fun thing let's see what it looks like if we add color to it.
You know, isn't that the best way of thinking?
Yeah, because you're
I,
saying everything is uninhibited. You just do what feels right.
yeah, it was the 60s. It was the 60s.
Now, maybe you can give me a sense of because I've always heard it said, oh, it was an old boys network, but it seems like you were welcomed with open arms. You weren't a man, you were a woman, and there you are. I know you have such an experience with it from both camps because you were very much a part of what Trina Robbins was doing. So
Yeah, I
you were there,
mean,
you were there with the guys, and then you were there with the girls.
exactly. Well, the people who were doing it were seeing a different vision of the world. And so male or female, it really didn't matter. You know, Trina discovered me and she loved me. And I'm a New Yorker, unless you can't tell from my accent. And there you go. She put together all these women, uh, and she honored me by liking my work. And I just kept working until one day a new editor came and he said, no, no, we don't want this anymore. And that was the end. And you can see the last picture that I do is incomplete. The last run, the last cartoon
Oh, okay.
uh, in the East Village Other, because I just stopped and started doing like busy boxes for Gothic Limp and other stuff.
Yeah, like you, the artist, you probably have no idea of when should I end this. I want to keep going, and then some outside force comes in and says, "Well, you're going to end it now."
Yeah, there you go. Ended it now. And what Fantagraphics did, the design team took the work as it was, even stains from you know tape and stuff that was used in the old publishing way that they used to do it. Photograph it. Looks like Scotch tape, even tears in the paper. And they made that part of the art of the book.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
Now, does this bring back memories, or is some of these works, it's a little bit of a blur as to what was going on, why you were creating these works?
You know, I never asked myself why. I mean, I couldn't come up with a totally rational. To me, what was rational is that I'm an individual person, totally myself, and I'm searching for more and more ability and wisdom. You know, at that time, we were taking drugs not to be drugged, but to reach higher states of awareness. Of course, drugs don't actually do that, but it was the opening of people looking for higher states. And part of higher states, it's just creating the way you want to create. I mean, I ain't Michelangelo or Michelangelo, as they would say, but I can create too. I can have fun. It was great.
Well, I'm just mesmerized by this one busy boxes. I just love this woman coming out of this eggshell, and so it's all very stream of consciousness, just beautiful. I think this would have made this woman coming out of eggshell. I would have chosen that for the cover maybe, but there's so much good stuff in here.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I asked Alex, you know, uh, a personal question like, well, what does your mother think of this cover? And he gave me a very personal answer, which I'm not going to say, but it was like, oh, it's our Alex. Because we chose a very conservative cover when we sent it in, and not conservative because I'm not conservative, but I mean, we're not talking politics, just
More
spiritual awareness.
more traditional, I guess.
Yes, more traditional.
Well,
So,
yeah, I'm kind of skirting the issue of the cover because I'm not sure. I don't want to. I don't know what to do with it because it's very in your face, very provocative, and I have no problem with it. But it's because it's for a general audience. I wouldn't. Let's just say I wouldn't dwell on it necessarily.
no, that's Gary Groff. You can, he's been selling books and graphic novels and successful with Fantagraphics for many years, and he chose it because that would sell
Oh,
her.
it makes so much sense. It's human nature. I mean, imagine if you were at a comics convention, comics art festival, and that you're at your table and you have this book out. People make a beeline right to it. They'll just be so curious. Well, what's going on here? What the hell is going on here? And most likely you'll make a sale.
Yeah, drug, sex, and rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, that was one line of thinking during that period. And then there were us, other people, everybody wanted to be more spiritual, have more awareness. It was a very, very interesting period in my life. I loved it.
And it seems like you said, it's all very natural because I think of the more recent work, and then here I'm looking at work from the 60s, the 70s. I think we're still in the 60s,
Yeah, 60s.
and it all has a certain Hurricane Nancy vibe to it.
Yeah.
Although these older pieces, they kind of make me think of the newer ones because they're more pared down. The one I'm looking at here, for instance.
Oh, yeah. The older pieces are, these older pieces that you're seeing are all in the Billy Ireland uh, cartoon library and museum at the University of Ohio. I donated them all because they were on paper and they were falling apart. So,
Well, and in the spirit of just like we're leafing through the book, that we're like sitting together on a couch, we have coffees, and we're just leafing through the book. I say some are pared down, but then there's some that are detailed, some are pared down. Did you consciously go back and forth thinking, oh, this one's going to have more detail, or it was what it was, or
I think I'm a more it was what it was kind of girl. It's like woman now. But I just started drawing and then kept drawing and kept drawing, and I was always surprised at what came out.
yeah, it's all
You know,
in the process while you're doing it. But
it's
you also edit, I'm sure, because this one looks very refined. This is a very nice piece here.
you know, uh I don't remember editing. I remember just getting in and the paper became God. And
I can see that. Well, also because you're constantly drawing, so you refine your way of
yeah,
doing things.
yeah. And I really thought my stuff was funny, quirky, funny. So I liked it. I liked what I was doing. I mean, if we asked Janis Joplin, I mean, I'm not comparing myself in any way to Janis Joplin. There is a great artist. But when she was performing, which I saw more than once, it was like being put on a spaceship and going to another planet. Even though it wasn't another planet, she was so above herself, so above her body. She was
Oh,
so incredible. So she was an influence.
oh, I love hearing things like that. I always say I'm looking for the flavor of a bygone era. I'm looking for the flavor of a certain artist, what they're doing. So you're providing that flavor right now.
Oh, thank you, Henry William, my friend. We've been friends for a long time now.
Yes, we have. I'm so grateful of that.
Yeah.
And here we enter maybe what we'd call the later period or the modern era of your work. And it is more, how would you describe it? Is it a little more refined or what would you say?
It's simpler and there's more thinking involved. But it was the same way I was doing it. Like this one, we don't have any of the, everyone has a title, but I just had other new ways of looking at life, and what people were doing to each other and what was going on in the world, you know, and I just had a new way of looking. But that was about it. That's all I can say. Ask me another question. I don't know.
No, it's great.
I mean,
Uh,
there was so much on men being women and women being men, and so burned at the stake, and she's got tits, and she's where yeah, has a beard, and what is she? Well, she's what she wants to be.
there you go. Well, every interview I do is a little different. It depends on the chemistry I have with the person I'm interviewing. It depends on a lot of things. Sometimes I'll just go without a script at all, and that's what we're doing right now. We're free forming, but I feel like we know what we're doing because I'd like to think I'm pretty familiar with your work. I really enjoy it. I know I kind of know what to expect. Do you like that? Do you like uh, your followers having an idea of what to expect from your work, or do you like to keep surprising them, or is it a little of both? Or
It's a little of both. I I like to surprise myself
there you go.
because doing art, you're doing it, yes, for others, and you're doing it for yourself, and you're communicating a concept. There are more concepts in the later work because there just are, but I don't tell the person what the concept is or what they should think. I mean, when you look at cartoons or art, um, it's your participation in it. It's like, so when I step back from a piece of work, I look at it and I go, hey, that's interesting. And I'm either pleased with it or not. But since I've been working, since got back into producing cartoons, which was after I had breast cancer, and I said, well, what am I living for? Well, there are lots of things I'm living for, but me very personally, I'm living to create. And I've always been on looking for spiritual or, increased awareness, increased ability. So I step back from a work, I look at it. Sometimes I don't like it, but I don't destroy it. I say it's a sequence and a sequence and a sequence, and it was created, and there you go. I mean, I know I send you pictures, so you always say, "Oh, I'll publish it later." Some you publish, some you don't. You make that choice. Well,
Well, for the most part, I will publish my. I don't know what the rationale is sometimes for not, but yeah, things happen. But I love your work. So I don't know. Maybe there was one that was so risque. I said, Nancy, I don't know if this one is going to fly. Maybe it was something like that. I don't
there
remember.
was something like that. It was funny, but it was an older one. Actually, it was the 60s, whatever.
Yeah.
But see, I actually completely respect that and have fun with it. I think it's funny. And it is, you have a certain personal integrity of what belongs in Comics Grinder and what doesn't. And well, first of all, I completely honor that. But for me, it's an honor to be in Comics Grinder because I love what you publish. So there.
Well, I wanted to mention my good friend Paul Buell. He's someone who's contributed quite a number of reviews, and he did one on Guy Colwell's take on Hieronymus Bosch. And I know that you love Hieronymus Bosch too. Could you tell us a little bit about his influence in your work?
Well, when I was traveling in the early 60s, I ran into Hieronymus Bosch and that work in, I guess, Belgium, the Netherlands. And then I traveled uh, into a lot of places, but one of the places I landed and was just wanted to go to was the Prada, where you have heaven, purgatory, and hell. And that picture of hell is one of the grandest, most wonderful cartoons on the planet. I mean, it's not a cartoon. The guy is a master painter, master technique. I mean, this is like they made their paints, they did all this stuff, but that is one of the most imaginative, beautiful pieces of work on this planet to me. So, and then traveling that line to finally see it in person was just, for me, an incredible life experience and influenced me because it showed me that life is created, reality is created, and who creates it? Well, that's over to you. I'm not going to get into uh, anything like that, but okay.
That's wonderful. I'm just going through a few more pages. Is there something you'd like to tell the young artists out there
Oh, go
who are
back
just
to this
starting
one.
out?
Oh, sorry. I cut you off. What would I like to tell okay, well, when you start finger painting and start doing all of that, do not show your work to anybody who says, oh, dear, that's messy, or, oh, as a young artist, as a young person, your create is very important and it develops by creating. So if you have people around you who are critical of your work, they try to stop you. But the only reason they want to stop you is because they're jealous,
Yeah.
because they can't create. They don't have the balls.
Yes, that's incredibly true. Sometimes I don't realize how true that is because that just opens up a whole can of worms. Because yeah, a person can make that one cutting remark, and it can really mess with an artist. So you just
It,
have to let that go.
you have to let it go, but it's done so covertly with this thing, I'm really helping you, that spotting it is very important. But to any young artist, well, any young creator, just keep creating. And you are the judge. You are you are the God of your own universe. That's the simplicity.
Oh, I love that.
Wow.
Nick Abatz is another artist who I just jumped in and we had such a delightful interview. That's what's happening right now, Nancy. Sometimes it's better to not even think about it. You just jump right in, especially with someone you feel you're going to have a good time chatting with, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, look at us. I didn't even put on makeup. I was trying to practice. How do you do Zoom? You know, the body's 83 years old. And
Oh,
and I dramatize that I don't know about computers and this and that. My poor dear dead husband, who I loved completely, did all the computer work, etc. So,
well, you did perfectly, perfectly well.
oh, with your guidance, Henry, yeah, we got on it, and now here we are talking,
Well,
talking.
I'm just going to show the cover and just
Yes,
that's it.
that's Gary
Just
Gar. Yeah.
just accept it, folks. That's the cover. This is Nancy's book, and I love you, Nancy, and thank you for doing this interview.
Oh, Henry, you are one of my dearest friends. Thank you for interviewing me. We can talk anytime.
Okay, I'll hold you to that.